by getting it and the things that I had to do to get it helped me like realize, wait a second, I can do things and I can accomplish things. Like there's always a way to obtain your goal. There's always another way. Having that experience just like really helped me have confidence in myself in terms of knowing how to get things done and knowing that, hey, I can figure it out no matter what if I just never give up.
So right out of college, you moved to LA?
Mm-hmm. I did. Yep. Right out of college. I was really lucky because my older brother, he already lived in LA when I graduated. So I just moved in and like asked him, hey, can I move in with you for a little bit just so that I can get situated and get a job, like any kind of job, because I had a degree. So I was like, I can get anything. I can just work in business or do some sales job. And so I was like, just give me like a few months to get a job so I can get settled. And so he let me do that.
Were you okay with getting a sales job? And
I mean, that's what I had to do. I was, my parents weren't necessarily helping me out like financially. So it was kind of like, they're like, if you're going to go to LA, like, figure it out. Like,
yeah.
and it was kind of like that, And so it didn't matter what job I got. I was just like, I have a degree. I don't care. But I know the end goal is to not have this job. Like I didn't want to move to LA to have a sales job like at all. So I knew, and I had that job for a while, but like I knew in getting that job, it had to be something. It's almost good that it was something I really hated because I knew I had to get out of it. The job that I had though, it was actually I hated it, but it was a sales job where you got to work on your own. And so, and I to be honest, I don't think I could have taken it if it was like an office, like a really corporate job. But this job was a sales job. I basically sold wine to grocery stores. And it was, you work on your own, you set your own hours, and just the hours are between 4 and 6 in the morning and ending between noon and 2. And so with that schedule, it was actually kind of nice because first of all, I set my own schedule. I can start when I wanted. I can be like, okay, I can start earlier if I want to be done earlier. I can take breaks when I wanted to. I could basically say, hey, I'm gonna go to this store today. And so the independent part of it and the setting those, that was the big, and like working early was such a huge reason. And to be honest, I hated that job so much, but when I look at like the whole journey, it's like, wow, that job was actually kind of dope. And like, I got lucky because it was like the perfect job to be looking for something else.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if I wanted to go to an interview, because in the beginning I was interviewing at record labels, like different, places, and I could easily go. I could be like, not even tell my boss, I can just be done at 1, do my interview at 3. You know what I mean? So yeah. So it was like one of those kind of jobs that was kind of perfect in that way. It sucked. So waking up at 4 a.m. and the whole nature of the job was horrible.
Right.
Like mentally, just everything. But it was like, looking back, I'm like, oh, that was actually kind of a good thing.
So you had that job and did you have a goal of a certain record label you wanted to work at?
I think ideally, I really wanted to actually be like a manager. I wanted to do something like more along the lines of Scooter Braun and, and be a manager for some newer artist, an up and coming artist or something like that. That was really my dream, is to find like the Justin Bieber or like whoever, you know what I mean? Whoever, and remember like at the time, I mean, I always like to find underground artists. And at the time I was really into it. And so I was just like, really wanting to do that. I wanted to be and sometimes in my heart, like I still wanted to, like there's something in me that just enjoys finding people that I feel like are talented. So that was something I really wanted to do. After finding DJing, I definitely kind of just focused on DJing because I love DJing, and it in a way has so many of those things that I love, that I thought I would love in being a manager. DJing is kind of similar, you're finding music, you're finding tracks and finding talent in those artists as well. It's just by playing their music, And so I'm still getting that satisfaction.
You started DJing in St. Louis, or I'm sorry, in Indianapolis, right?
Yeah, no, so in my bio, I actually started making beats. So in college, I got really into making music, and I like started selling my beats to just different like local artists and people that I was friends with that were like artists, and I put them out and stuff. And just that producing is kind of somewhat that knowledge that I was like learning from producing really helped with DJing. It was like it clicked because it was like, oh, I get this. Like this is the song, I get it. This is the beats, I get it, because I used to make music. So transferring it to DJing and be able to, like, it was a lot easier than I think if I would have just been anybody that's never seen like what a song looks like, like what a song looks like. And so learning the craft of DJing for me, I think was a little bit faster because I had that production background. Yeah.
I have a question. Do you ever doubt yourself?
Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely doubted myself. In all areas, like I'm definitely very hard on myself. I think though my most confident area, and I think okay, so college I think helped shape me. Purdue is a really good school. So going to Purdue to me was one of like I'm in so much debt with school loans, and I'm not even using my degree. I know, but like
Yeah.
I have to think back. Yeah, it's like I think back and I'm like, dude, Purdue like really helped me. It was so hard to get through the business degree. It's a difficult degree at Purdue. And I think by getting it and the things that I had to do to get it helped me like realize, wait a second, I can do things and I can accomplish things. And I think having that like very difficult thing and actually accomplishing it in like ways where I'm telling you, like for me to get the degree that I got at Purdue, like I'm not this, I'm telling you, I am not the test taker. I am not like I struggle and I had to like figure out all these different ways. So I think
So what were the different ways? What did you have to do? I mean,
oh my God. So the biggest example for me, I think that just like really just blew my mind was okay. So at Purdue, to get into the degree that I was getting into, which is business, you have to get into like, there's like a lower level and a higher level. So when you're a sophomore, you're basically at the end of getting into the higher level. When you're a junior, you're in the higher level. And you have to take there's certain classes that were really important. There's like about 8 classes that between the 8, you have to have a 3.0 average, right? And they're like the hardest classes ever. They're so hard, like math, calculus 1 and 2, and just all kinds of classes. And they make it so that you have to get a 3.0. And if you don't, by the end of sophomore year, you have to change your major. Like literally, it's a completely change. You not graduate in 4 years anymore. You have to like completely change up everything. And so I did not want that to happen like at all. So I figured it out through math by like retaking classes and taking it at, different like I took a lot of summer school, figured it out like with the math classes, but the English class was the biggest example because I needed an A in English. English was the easiest of all the 8. It was the easiest, but I still suck at English. So for me to get an A, like everyone else got A's like this, and I'm like, I had to retake it and I had to try to get an A. And so I remember the first time I think I might have gotten a B or a C, and I needed an A. And so I remember the second time I took it, I I remember it was the very end, and it was like end of sophomore year, and I had my GPA, and I was like at 2.8 or whatever, and I was like, oh my God, this English I got a B, right? And I remember just being like, hey teacher, I emailed them and just said, hey, like, can I talk with you? And I kind of made it known that I needed an A, but I was like, hey, can I talk with you? And
slipped him $50.
I did not do that. But I just went in and I talked to him and I just told him, hey, I need an A. Just want to let you know, like, this is my situation. I'm going to be I'm going to be, getting into my major this next year. And this is the one grade that like, I really, really, really needed an A. This is the class that is easy enough for me to get an A in. Because the other classes I'm barely getting by. Like they're so hard. And he was like, Kara, you have a B. Like you have a B. I'm so sorry. And I was just like, are you sure? Like, are you sure? Is there anything I can do? And I just kind of was like, just really like just asking, like, I'm just telling you I need an A. I'm not going to get into my major if I don't get an A. He's telling me you have a B. I'm so sorry. And then I just was like kind of sad and just hoping that, maybe he would do something or maybe my grades, I don't know. I just went on my way and like, basically asked if I can do anything. I think he said he'd think about it. And next thing I know, like a week later when the grades come out, he gave me an A. And,
Wow.
And I think that example just in my head, because I remember like opening up with my parents and they knew the whole situation. And he gave me an A. And like, I think that just blew my mind because it just showed me that like you can ask. Like there's always a way to obtain your goal. There's always another way. Don't give up. Don't just take what they're giving you. Oh, you got to be like, because if I wouldn't have gone in, I would have gotten a B. I would have had to literally change my entire major. And like, people that I knew, like a lot of people that I knew that's what happened to them. They didn't do those extra steps of, they just took the grade that they got because, like, well, I'm not that good in English. And so that's my fate. I don't get into the major. And it's like, you know what? Like no one thought I was going to get into this major. I'm telling you, like, I was not the one. And I proved to myself that I can do it, and I proved to everyone else. And then I graduated in 4 years. Having that experience just like really helped me have confidence in myself in terms of knowing how to get things done and knowing that, hey, I can figure it out no matter what if I just never give up and stay and persevere and stay consistent and ask the things that I want and don't, just never let up. I don't really doubt myself in my ability to get things done. And also I'm a little bit of a music stuff. So in terms of music, I don't really doubt myself.
So you started DJing out in LA. Did you do that while you had the wine job?
Yeah, I did. I started DJing maybe a year after moving to LA. At the time I was still producing, I was still making beats, and I was really like, I was just trying to make extra money, to be honest. I was like, maybe I can make some extra money. I needed more money. I wanted to like maybe have some kind of supplemental income. And a lot of people were like, hey, Kara, like maybe you should just be a DJ. Like maybe you should just do that and you can make extra money that way. And so I was like, yeah, like maybe I should. And so I always wanted to be a DJ. So I knew like that was totally like in like the area of what I was thinking about already. So I think that people telling me was like the extra push that I needed. And so I actually I got really lucky. It was like, I found a company that was hiring DJs and also training DJs, which is like weird and like almost too good to be true.
Yeah, sounds like a scam.
It felt like a scam. I was like, what is this? This is weird. It was so weird. But it's a legitimate company, and they're in LA. They're the biggest, one of the biggest DJ companies in LA, and they were just trying to hire new DJs. And so I kind of came in at the right time, and they were training new DJs to be wedding DJs. And so it's not like it was like the easiest thing ever and I just got a job with them. There's a whole training and they make it really difficult to like get to the point where you're making money with them doing weddings. Like it took about a year of training. Like it took me, a whole year after getting with them. And I was just kind of like assisting and things like that. But it was kind of my way in though. It was like, people were telling me to become a DJ, you should try it. And I was like, how do I even start? Like, I don't even know. I think I bought some equipment and I was like, I don't know how to get a gig. So
how did you find the management company? You just looked online?
I was on Craigslist looking for a record label gig because I was like, music. And that popped up. And I was like, this is really weird, but like, I kind of want to be a DJ too. And they're training? Okay, I'll apply.
Yeah. What was the hardest part and what was the part you enjoyed the most?
The hardest thing I think for me was getting more comfortable on the mic because we were wedding DJs and I was really shy at the time. And for me to be successful with this company and for me to actually get work, they wanted us to be very confident on the mic. And I was the opposite of confident on the mic. And so I had to figure out how to get good. And what I ended up doing was taking an acting class actually, as well, and just was like,
wow,
did that, and because I was really bad. Like I was like, hi guys, like I did not. I was
happy
so
wedding.
like I was so scared. I hated it. I'm telling you, I guess it was really difficult for me to get in with this company because of that. Like they really kind of put me through a lot, like, because I wasn't that good on the mic. I really wasn't. So took the acting class and they were like, oh, okay, you got a little better. And so then I, just started getting better and better. And then finally they're like, okay, we think you're good enough. So
then you graduated from this training? Yeah,
I graduated, and they basically, all that means is that they just start sending you a bunch of weddings and they start booking you like crazy. They're like I said, they're the busiest wedding DJ company in Los Angeles. And I was also the only female. So it was actually really good for me because anytime anyone wanted a female, that was my gig. So I got all those gigs and just started working like crazy. It was like a little bit insane because I still had my wine job. So I would do sometimes I would do like a corporate event on like a Thursday. So it would be like from 6 to 9. I had my wine job in the morning. Remember, I'm waking up at 6 in the morning And so I do that, end at 2, go home and like eat, sleep for like a second, and then have to be at the other gig. You have to get there a little early, you know? So I would have to sometimes, a lot of times I have to go straight there and just go to the warehouse, pick up the equipment because we used their equipment, the DJ equipment, and then go to the gig. You have to be there at 4, set up, you know, and then be done at 9, then break down, take it back, go home, go to sleep, wake up, go do my wine job, and then maybe have another gig on Friday, and then I'd have a wedding on Saturday. And sometimes I'd have 2 weddings. Like it was insane. Like sometimes I had my wine job, I'd have to go straight to the wedding, like if I had a Friday wedding, and just pray that like I didn't have that much going on with my wine job. I mean, the wine job was so great though, because it kept me, you know, consistent income. And I set my own schedule. So if I had a wedding on a Friday, because there would be some Friday weddings, I would just make sure I started really early and started, like, it sucks, but I would start really early and then be done by like noon, and then be able to make my wedding with plenty of time, and then be, you know, go the whole night and DJ. But I mean, it was a lot of work. I was able to make extra, like the supplemental income that I wanted. And it was a good training experience. Like I think back, like it sucked. Like during all of this, I was like, it was like I had no social life at all. But it was just such a good, I mean, now, like I said, looking back on a lot of things now, it's like, wow, I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I took that training. It was also not good because it wasn't the best pay. Like once I realized how much DJs are actually making and how much these clients are actually paying, it was like, wow, you guys take that much? Like it was a huge cut. And so like, that was another big thing that kind of just like really hurt, and it was hard. But when I look back, I'm like, well, you know what? They gave me so much work, and I was the only female, and I really was able to help build the brand that I have now because of that.
I love how you look back and you're like that was a really good thing. I mean, I think that's important, right? Do you have any personal development practices?
I like to journal. That's like a thing for me. Yeah, that's my biggest thing is journaling and just like reflecting on like I like to do it not every day, but at least like once a week. And I just like to reflect on what my goals are and just the way I'm feeling. So I stay in touch with the way that I'm feeling and what I want in life and things like that. So journaling for me really helps me stay on track. And it's so fun to like look back at your journals and just be like, oh wow, like I accomplished that. Oh, okay, I did that. I didn't realize I did that, you know, and it's a cool thing.
Yeah.
So, like one time I did it and I looked back, so maybe like last year, and I was like, I accomplished literally, I didn't even know this, but I accomplished almost every goal that I set out for myself. And I think it's like maybe it's a subconscious thing by like writing down the goals and saying, okay, and like really thinking, okay, what do you want? Like, I want this, and I'm gonna do the things that I need to do to get it. And then just like stop and like maybe write out the things that you need to do, but then just stop. And it's like sometimes you'll still accomplish it and not even notice. And like then a year later, you're like, wow, like I did it. Like this is crazy. Like just by setting that intention and writing it down and knowing the things that you need to do just by writing it down, you're gonna do those things and then you're gonna accomplish the goals. So I just think it's so important. Having a journal, physical journal, and writing it down is so important.
So you started doing being so busy with this DJ management company. Did they also manage you for going into clubs and working there as well?
No, they did not. That was all on my own.
That was all okay, so I wanna know about that. How did you grow your business into, from this management company to DJ Kara?
So while I was with the management company, I started realizing how much DJs are making. And I was like, holy crap. It's not like holy crap, but like it was significantly more than what I was getting. It was just like, oh, like they're taking a lot of money. Like this company is taking a lot from me. It was good. It was decent money at the time for me, but it was like I realized how much money I could be making, and that I could quit my job, and not have to do the job that I couldn't stand, waking up in the morning. And so I was like, I kind of would love to quit my job and just do this. That would be amazing. So I was just, after realizing that, I was like, just set on, okay, I have to figure out how I can quit my job and just do it full time and have a business. So I started my website. I started building out my website while I was still working with the company. and I started purchasing the equipment that I needed. And the company actually put me under a 3-year contract exclusive. So it was definitely like, I admit, I think it was a year, I was a year into my contract once I actually started getting gigs. But that was a big thing too. So I knew that I couldn't really actually do gigs, but I was kind of like preparing for it, knowing that, like, okay, let me have my website, let me have, and just kind of like get all the equipment and practice and prepare that when I'm, 3 years out, done with my contract, I can have a business and I can just be, break away from this company and have a business where I get gigs. And so I was building my website. I was working on SEO. I think SEO is like super important, just making sure that you're getting seen on Google.
You
And
learned that yourself, or did you learn that in college? Mixture of
I
both?
learned that myself. I mean, I don't know a lot about it. I'm not like an SEO expert at all, but I did learn about it. I hired somebody to kind of help me learn about it. And so that was huge. So I just really worked on my website and getting it to have good SEO so people can find me. I worked on my Yelp page. I worked on my brand during this time while I was still with the company, and kind of like had that kind of at the same time, in a sense. I didn't really take any gigs. And if I got any gigs through my brand or through my website, I would send it to the company. But it was just helping just build it up. And I was networking. I was networking with just different DJs and things like that. And just like, getting to know this DJ. This DJ works, by themselves. This is a DJ that I would maybe want to be. And so I was just networking with different DJs.
At events?
Just on, Instagram, hey, what's up? I'm, a DJ as well. Female DJs mainly, just saying like hi. And so that's kind of how I built that whole DJ Kara website brand, that whole thing. And then also like, through Instagram, just posting pictures, even though it was with the company that I was with, I was still just like post pictures of the gigs that I would do. And then in terms of like the bars, I just basically was just asking, bars. It was actually a pretty long, crazy process to finally get into the bars. Like it was like, I would say, yeah, it was the whole thing. It was just like constantly asking. And then finally Bar 10 gave me a chance. And then it was funny because it was like such a hard process because I finally got into Bar 10. Bar 10 was the club that I really wanted to DJ at because it was just exactly the music that I wanted to play. And then the manager like disappeared. And
oh my gosh.
Like really, so he finally got me in. He's like, we love you. We're so happy to have you. And then he just disappears and never books me. Honestly, I got like kind of insecure and I'm really shy. So going out and asking for gigs is like not my thing. It's not the easiest thing for me at all. Like I hate doing it. So I think after like being there and kind of getting pushed out, I think my confidence was just like, because I tried already so hard. I went back and I think I was feeling confident that day. There was a guy there that remembered me. And he was like, are you that DJ? I think I remember you from like a while ago. And I was like, yeah. I really want to talk to your manager. I would love to get back in here. And he was like, okay, your manager's not here, but I'll let him know. So thank God this guy remembered me. And so anyway, he referred me and said, hey, there's this DJ that wants to talk to you about getting in. And so then I met the new manager. And the new manager was open to having me. Again, I had to kind of do this whole thing again and start and him see me again. And then he was like, okay. And then finally, because of that, I got put into rotation. Getting into Bar 10 was definitely the start of it all, because by getting in and having that residency was kind of how I, was able to get into WeHo and then show people like, and get used to bars. And so then I was able to get into different bars. And I met people like, by doing that, I was able to meet booking managers that were like, oh, okay, well, like, can I book you at this place? And so then I kind of was able to get into where they would book me at like EPLP and different places because they were booking managers that had that connection, and they finally saw me because I was out and I was DJing.
You're just like, this is what I want, and this is what I need to do to get it. I need to go and talk to the people, and I need to ask, and I need to be persistent.
Mm-hmm.
And stay on that even when the bar manager left. You could complain about that for forever, and be like, this is over. Now you're doing events for these huge companies.
Mm-hmm.
And you're traveling to places and doing events. How is that transition into like companies? Is that a little different? Do you like that?
Oh, I love it. Yeah. I mean, I feel so thankful for um, those opportunities that I get with the companies. And I think that came, like I said, this company that I worked with was really like it was really was beneficial because they really helped me get that first like experience with these companies. So I had like gotten to the point where I quit my job, right? And I was just doing bars and working with the company. There was this whole thing where there was this balance between my whole business, because I had gotten to the point where I had really good SEO on my page and just my business. And I was getting seen, and people and companies were finding me, like bigger companies were just finding me and like maybe inquiring, right? And at that point, I was still exclusive. The company was getting bigger. There was more opportunities for the company, and then still being with the company, I was, I was one of at that time I kind of worked my way up. And so I was one of the first people that they would, say, hey, there's this really big opportunity. Like for instance, with Disney. And it's like, they're putting me up, hey, just, you can work with Disney. And so Disney, hired me and they wanted to have me. And it was under the company at first. And then there would be some companies that came in through me that through my website because I had really good SEO. And then they would the company that I was working for, the DJ company, I would send it to them, and then they were good at booking. They were good at like selling. So then they would sell it. And I at that time probably wasn't the best at selling myself. And so these big companies like Zillow, or I did gigs like, just all kinds of different companies. They would sell that. And then after that, they'd sell it and I'd do the gig. These companies started to like me. And so then when I quit, um, I had these companies that I had already worked with. And so a lot of these companies followed me because they were like, where are you? Are you still DJing? Oh, you are? Okay, cool. We can still book you. That's great news. And I'm like, yeah, that's great news. Book me directly. It was
Yeah.
amazing. I was like, oh, I didn't expect so many companies to follow me, but they did. And then by getting that business and having these companies coming to me direct, I learned. And then so when new companies would come, they see that I work. And then it just kind of like built. And it was like, because I had this experience and I knew how to book and then knew how to price. And so it kind of like after I quit, a few companies just followed me. And then because they followed me and stayed with me directly, it just helped me build it and build it. And so that's kind of what's been happening. Yeah, like I feel so blessed. But I mean, like I said, like it was so good for me to work with the DJ company because that just gave me that boost that I needed and got me in front of the right people. So
I saw at least one gig that you did. Was it for Microsoft?
yeah, it was for Microsoft. Yeah. It was a virtual event with them. They have these yearly conferences, right? And so they have this app conference that they do, I believe, I don't know where, but they did it digitally. They did it online, virtually. And of course, Microsoft has all the tools and they know, so they had their way of doing it, of course, and it was really cool. But it was, and I felt so thankful. And this is from a client that, the client, the way I got it was just through referral. I worked with because I had gotten some of the gigs that I've gotten in the past. There's people that saw me and this woman, happened to really like me. And so she referred me. And she was also working on the event, but she referred me to Microsoft and kind of like, hey, you want to get a DJ? And so they did. They went for it. And it's interesting DJing online, doing an actual, because you can't even see anybody.
I know, you have to focus on your own energy. Like, you have nobody else's.
100%. It's different. It's not the same thing. But I'm just thankful. I mean, I was so thankful just to have gotten any kind of virtual. I mean, it was an amazing opportunity to work with Microsoft. I mean,
What is one thing that you could do right now to level up?
it would be to make sure that I spend this time that I have on things that I truly know in my heart will benefit me in the long run, and the things that I have not been able to get to that I know I needed to get to that might be annoying to have to get to because it's like, yeah, I know I've been wanting to do this forever, but like, it's kind of hard and it's
Can
something
you
that
give an example?
I've been wanting to do more on helping other DJs. Like I've been really like I do the bites and beats, right?
Yes.
And I just been wanting to give more effort in that and more effort in helping DJs figure out their journey and be able to be successful at it. Because I get questions on Instagram, and I'm like, I can like really be focused more on this. So that's something that I know in my heart, like I want to do down the line, like, as 10 years from now, I want to be, maybe not DJing as much and more helping or, training or consulting or something like that. So I'm like really trying to focus on like, what can I be doing now? Because I have so much time. Like I think that's the biggest thing for me to be leveling up with. It's just like making sure that I get my routine and actually get things done that I have never done before. But I want to challenge myself in areas that is going to be difficult and is going to be a learning curve so that I can actually like really, really say this time was really valuable because I learned something and got somewhere that is different from what I'm used to, different from the life, different from just DJing.
What is something, and maybe it's something you tell some of your Bites and Beats members, a piece of advice for someone who wants to level up in their life?
Try your best to not worry too much about what people think. As you're putting stuff on social media, as you're putting things out there, as you're posting, as you're doing content, putting out content, and let's say that you're just a musician or you're a DJ and you have mixes and you're trying to practice and you're trying to go live, just try not to think too much about what people think. That's something that I struggle with a lot, is worrying too much about what people think. And so that kind of makes it so it's harder for me to put out stuff because I'm overthinking and I'm thinking, well, no, I shouldn't say that. No, I should say it like this, or I should come across like this. All these different things are in my head. And then I'm like, well, let me just not post. I don't know what to say. And I think that it can be a hindrance for sure, just worrying too much. And I think for me, I don't know, that's just my biggest struggle, I would say, is that I worry so much about how I'm perceived. And I think it kind of gets in the way sometimes. So.
Thank you. I love that. Okay, everyone. Thank you for listening. This is the Level Up podcast with Shay.
Thank you.